Let the performance begin. Official sponsor of Cirque du Soleil.
Deep in the cold, mysterious Antarctic lie many answers about our changing climate. An adventurous crew, a breathtaking scientific expedition, Antarctic Mission, a 4-part series on the nature of things, starts Wednesday at 10 on CBC Newsworld. News never sleeps, and when something happens in the world,
making news right now.
Get every angle on every story, first thing every morning, starting at 6 Eastern. For the latest in business, sports, and weather, turn to CBC News Morning.
Well, it's a Canadian tournament with a couple of great Canadian players. It can hardly get better for Canadian tennis fans. It could tonight if Frank Dansevich survives a big match and goes further toward the Rogers Cup. Mike McIntyre will be watching professionally, personally probably too. He's a tennis writer in Toronto. In the meantime, he's going to share his knowledge with us. So Frank Dansevich, hot, 82nd in the world and hopefully climbing. Where do you see him going?
Yeah, he's on a nice little roll right now after overcoming some injuries earlier in the year. And here he is now in front of his home crowd. Played a great match last night where he pulled out all the shots of a top-level tennis player and won in straight sets against a much higher-ranked opponent. He's going to have to keep that momentum going, of course, tonight against the number 3 seed Novak Djokovic. But, hopefully he can benefit from the fact that Djokovic hasn't played in a few weeks, and Frank's going to have the home crowd behind him like he did last night.
Absolutely. The home crowd must be really important here. But, like you said, he has been on a roll and really growing quickly. What are the strengths of his game? Yeah,
well, he seems to have a very big serve, which can bail him out of some troublesome situations. And last night he showed a lot of poise at the net with some nice touch on some drop volleys, too, that the opponents can't get to as quickly. So, if he continues to develop at this rate and stays healthy, which is always a challenge, he could contend and be a potential top 20 guy in the future.
Okay, so he plays this very key match tonight. What's he going to have to do? I mean, he's playing somebody ranked so much higher than he is.
Yeah, well, mentally he's going to have to keep his composure, and that's what separates the top-ranked guys from the rest of the pack, really. Last year in Montreal, he was able to do that through several rounds and even push world number 2 to a final set, Rafael Nadal. So he's got a little bit of experience, and if he can rely on that and stay focused, I think we're in for a treat tonight.
Represent Canada, represent Niagara Falls. I love it. Now, Dansevich is not the only Canadian we're watching. Perennial favorite, Daniel Nestor.
That's right. Seems to be forgotten from time to time. He's very soft-spoken, but in the doubles world, he is the top guy right now. Number 1 ranking. He's a 4-time, he's won all 4 Grand Slam tournaments. Olympic gold medal. You can't really get any better than that in the sport. So he'll start his doubles competition this week, too, preparing for the Olympics, no doubt.
Let's move off the Canadian list here to the hottest male tennis players in the world, of course, Roger Federer, Rafael Nadal. Are we going to see them play each other, do you think?
Well, it's quite a rivalry, and everyone's hoping for a Nadal-Federer final on Sunday if the draw holds true. Certainly from what we saw in Wimbledon, that is the rivalry of the day. That is what's gripping even the sports world as a whole at the moment. The two of them were front page of Sports Illustrated, which we don't often see tennis in that sort of spot. So they're doing great things for the sport of tennis, and fans are really getting involved in that excitement.
It seems to me, too, there's been so much focus on women in the sport in the past couple of years. Maybe that's mostly because of the Williams sisters sort of bringing the level up. Now there's a shift back, it seems, on the men.
It's true. And for the last few years, Roger has sort of been untouched. And when he's winning all his matches so easily, it's hard maybe for people to get excited about it when the outcome is so predictable. Now we see Nadal coming up, challenging him not just on clay courts, but on his favorite surfaces of grass and hard court as well. And that's what the sport needs, is a couple of guys going at it, much like, if you will, a Gretzky and Lemieux at the end of the 80s and 90s in hockey, where Gretzky had been untouched for so long, and we had this young guy coming up and challenging him. So it's great for the sport, and hopefully this continues for years to come.
Who's your favorite tennis player to watch, and why?
Well, I would have to go with Federer, I guess, which I think a lot of people are saying these days. He's just got such a fluid game and very graceful on the court, also a very modest kind of guy who's easy to relate to. So he's the guy that I guess I've got an eye on, and of course the Canadians, and we're all hoping that Frank puts on a good show tonight for us.
Absolutely, you'll be there.
You bet.
Okay, thanks so much, Mike.
Thank you, Susan.
Well, got a catchy tune stuck in your